We think we know ancient Egypt, gold masks, huge pyramids, mysterious curses. But forget the magic. Forget the aliens. Egypt was a machine, a complex system of politics, economics, and survival. What happens when a woman rules the world, but history tries to delete her? How do you survive a trap set by a superpower rival? And what actually killed this 3,000-year empire? It wasn't a war. It was the weather. In this video, we use AI to analyze the logic behind the pharaohs. We will decode their decisions, simulate their alternate timelines, and find the lessons for our modern world. Welcome to Learn from History. Chapter 1. The Pharaoh Who Erased Herself. Hatshepsut was one of the most successful rulers in history. She opened trade routes and built massive temples. But after she died, her name was chiseled off walls. Her statues were smashed. Why? Was it hatred? Was it sexism? Our AI analysis suggests something more logical: political stability. Hatshepsut ruled as a regent for her stepson, Thutmose III, but she didn't step down. She declared herself king. When Thutmose finally took power, he didn't hate her. He waited 20 years to destroy her monuments. Why wait? Because he needed to reset the timeline. If a queen could become king, it broke the chain of legitimacy for his son. Erasing her wasn't personal. It was strictly business. The lesson? In high-stakes power games, legitimacy is everything. Sometimes, corporate leaders or politicians will erase the legacy of their predecessors, not out of spite, but to secure their own authority. Because history is edited by the winners. Chapter 2. The First Superpower War. 1274 BC. The Battle of Kadesh. Egypt versus the Hittites. Ramses II versus Muwatalli II. Ramses walked into a trap. His division was ambushed. He was surrounded. Let's run the simulation. If Ramses had retreated or been captured, the Egyptian moral structure would have collapsed. The Hittites would control the trade routes. Egypt would starve. But Ramses didn't retreat. He charged. He fought to a stalemate, but he went home and claimed a total victory. Finally, he built temples celebrating his win. This brings us to the Kadesh trap. Ramses survived the battlefield, but he won the war of information. He realized that, in moments of survival-level crisis, truth matters less than the narrative. The lesson for us today is, in crisis management, controlling the story is as important as fixing the problem. And now we know that Ramses was the first master of propaganda. Chapter 3. The Nile's Betrayal. Ramses was powerful. Hatshepsut was rich, but neither could fight the real enemy. AI analysis of ice cores and sediment data reveals the truth. Climate change. Around 1200 BC, the Bronze Age collapsed. The Nile floods became unreliable. Droughts lasted for decades. When the river failed, the economy failed. The pharaoh's promise was simple. I am a god. I control the chaos. When people are hungry, the god-king looks like a liar. Central power crumbled. Local warlords took over. The lesson is terrifyingly modern. No matter how strong your military or economy is, you are at the mercy of the environment. Resource scarcity breaks even the strongest empires. Chapter 4. The Heretic King. Before the collapse, there was a revolution. Pharaoh Akhenaten banned the old gods. He closed the temples. He built a new capital city in the desert. He worshipped only one god, the Aten. Was he a visionary or a madman? Let's break it down logically. The priests of Amun were too powerful. They owned more land than the king. Akhenaten's revolution wasn't just religious. It was a power grab. By destroying the old gods, he bankrupted the priests and took back the money. But he moved too fast. He ignored reality. He spent his time writing poems to the sun while the empire's borders were attacked. The lesson? Disruption is dangerous. Akhenaten tried to change the culture, the religion, and the capital all at once. In business or politics, if you alienate your base and ignore external threats, your revolution will fail. Revolutions fail not because they are wrong, but because they move faster than reality allows. Chapter 5. Beyond the Myths. Finally, let's look at the beginning. The pyramids. How did they build them? Slaves? Aliens? No. Our AI analysis views the pyramids as an economic engine. Egypt had a problem. The Nile flooded for 3 months every year. Farmers had no work. Idle men caused riots. The pyramids were a massive public works project. The state paid farmers in bread and beer to work during the flood. It was a way to redistribute wealth and unify the nation. They weren't just tombs. They were the ultimate tool for social cohesion. For modern takeaway, that great projects build nations. They create a shared purpose and keep the economic engine running. The pyramid wasn't a vanity project. It was the backbone of the economy. From Hatshepsut's erased legacy to the pyramid's economic logic, ancient Egypt teaches us that history isn't random. It's a series of choices. Choices about PR, about climate, about how fast to push for change. They built a civilization that lasted 3,000 years. Will ours last that long? If climate, legitimacy, and narrative decide the fate of civilizations, which one is failing in our world right now? Thanks for watching Learn from History. If you enjoyed this eye analysis, like and subscribe for the next timeline.